Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his brother's home, there was a pujari who was worshipping the deity. But when Meenaketana Ramdas, who was an associate of Lord Nityananda, appeared, he showed him no respect. Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachishuta Hoilo Se Balarama Hoilo Nitai. That Balaram appeared in Ram's Leela as Lakshman, in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Leela as Nityananda Prabhu, the original Guru. Now those who are in proper standing, associating or representing Guru, they are as good as Guru, and they must be offered the same type of respect. If you offend the representative of Guru, you offend Guru. If you offend Guru, you offend Balaram and Krishna. So Meenaketana Ramdas was the servant of the Lord. He was Nityananda's friend. And this pujari was so busy worshipping Krishna that he did not offer respects to Guru Tatva. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami became very angry. And he had an argument with his brother. And his brother told him that I have complete faith in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I have no faith in this Nityananda Prabhu. Look at the types of things he does. And Kaviraj Goswami, he explained, you cannot have faith in Lord Chaitanya without Nityananda. You cannot approach Mahaprabhu without Guru. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally proclaimed this. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, he explains that anyone who offends Lord Nityananda is condemned by me. Mahaprabhu said, without approaching Nityananda, without approaching Guru Tatva, his representatives, no one can approach me. And Radhanath Das Goswami, he tried for so many long years to get the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when was he finally successful? When he pleasingly served Lord Nityananda and received his blessings. And Radhanath Das Goswami ji himself said, without receiving your blessings, without pleasing and satisfying you and serving your order, no one can approach Gauranga Mahaprabhu. At the time of the appearance of Lord Sri Ramchandra, Lord Balaram appeared as his younger brother, Lakshman. And there's a nice story of how in Kishkinda Kshetra, Lord Sri Ramchandra met Sugriva and made alliance that his armies would help Ramchandra to find Sita and fight the Rakshasa armies of Ravana. Within Sugriva's army were so many very, very great, powerful personalities. Most of them were monkeys, Hanumanji. And there was also Angada, Jambavan, Mahinda. And we read in Ramayana, one of the great devotees of Lord Ram, who was also risking his life to fight against Ravana's soldiers, was a gorilla, a monkey named Viduda. There's an interesting story about Viduda gorilla. Viduda had strong faith in Lord Sri Ramchandra, and he was willing to fight and risk his life for his sake, and he did. But he didn't have faith in Lakshman. In fact, his mind was critical of Lakshman. He didn't like him. But you cannot approach Ram except through Lakshman. So although he thought he had a relationship, his relationship was actually offensive. He found faults in Lakshman. He was not submissive to Lakshman. And therefore, just as Kaviraj Goswami's brother fell down due to his offense against Nityananda Prabhu, similarly, Viduda gorilla fell down from his devotion because of his offense against Guru. But the Lord is so kind, he wanted to rectify him. So, in the next incarnation, where Ram appeared in the form of Krishna and Lakshman appeared in the form of Balaram, Viduda hated both Krishna and Balaram. If you displease Guru, Krishna withdraws his mercy and you lose all your affection and attraction that you once thought you had for him. Naturally, if we do not have that protection, we fall prey to evil association. So he became an associate of Bhaumasura. Viduda was good friends. And Bhaumasura, such a rascal demon, he was so corrupt that with his great powers he would conquer kingdoms, and then he would steal all the princesses of the kings he would defeat. And he had 16,000 princesses held captive in his palace. And ultimately Krishna, he came to the kingdom of Bhaumasura, and there was a very, very great war between them. And of course, Krishna killed Bhaumasura and awarded him liberation from his demoniac ways. So Krishna, who is so lovingly disposed toward his devotees, he married all 16,100 of the princesses. And there was a very wonderful wedding ceremony. And he gave each of them their own beautiful palaces, each one more wonderful than Indra, the king of heaven's own abode. 16,108 queens. So Dvivida became very angry that Krishna, he killed my best friend Bhaumasura, and I will teach him a good lesson. I will get revenge. So he began to commit all sorts of atrocities for humanity in general, because Krishna is Bhaktavatsal. Krishna is always so compassionately disposed toward all living beings. It pains his heart when he sees his children suffering. Now Dvivida had such power and strength. The same hands and the same strength that fought like anything to kill Ravana were now performing the same type of activities as Ravana himself. God gave him the power, and because of his offense to Guru, he was misusing all that power. And he took his hands and he would go to the ocean and he would begin to stir his hands in the water of the ocean. And he had such power that on all four sides, the ocean started having huge waves and overflowing. Entire nations were being totally disturbed by his stirring of the ocean. And he would set fires in all directions to agricultural fields, to mercantile communities. And in this way, he would create famine. He would set fire to the fields. There was no food for anyone to eat. And no one could stop him because he was so egoistic and so powerful. And he would, where the Brahmins were performing yajna, he couldn't tolerate it. He would go to that area and he would pass stool and urine all over the yajna-shala and just contaminate it in every possible way. And he would go to aristocratic people's homes and he would kidnap them and plunder their riches. And often he would beat them and he would take their daughters and he would rape them. Such a terrible demon. And please remember, this was the same Shakti that he was using with such devotion in the service of Ram. How we can misuse our God-given intelligence, our God-given abilities. One day, Dvivida, he was especially terrorizing the towns and the villages that were just adjacent or close by to Dwarka, because he knew that's where Krishna and Balaram lived, and he hated them. So one day he heard on the Raivataka mountain beautiful music of singing and dancing. So he wanted to cause disturbance there. So he went on that mountain. And there, Lord Balaram himself, the original spiritual master, who he had offended in his same life, but in the Lord's previous Leela, Balaram was there, and he was with so many of his beautiful girlfriends, and they were dancing together, and they were singing together, and the whole atmosphere was so charming, beautiful, fragrant flowers, and nice breezes. And they were drinking Lord Balaram's Varuni beverage. The Varuni beverage is a celestial drink that increases one's ecstasy to the point of intoxication. But it is not like the intoxications of this world, which just dull your mind and senses and put you deeper into Maya. Varuni is actually who appears personally in the form of this sweet elixir just to give pleasure to Lord Baladev. So they were all so much intoxicated with this Varuni beverage, and they were dancing and singing together, completely spiritual interrelations of love, with no tinge of material desire. But Dvivida, he could not tolerate seeing such happiness, because the demoniac class of people are so envious. They hate to see other people happy. They only want to be happy themselves at anyone's cost. So what he started to do is he started jumping on the trees, and he started breaking the branches and jumping here and there. And when the ladies, when they saw him, he started moving his eyebrows and his eyes and making all sorts of very ridiculous gestures to them. And he was making these loud sounds as he was breaking the branches. Kila, kila. And the young girls, they thought it was funny. They were laughing, although he was actually trying to insult them, being very innocent and simple in heart. In fact, Srila Prabhupada says, young girls by nature, they just like to laugh at everything. So they were laughing. But then Dravida started exposing the lower parts of his body to these young girls. And then it was becoming very disgusting. And then he went up to Balaram and his girlfriends and started stripping their clothes off. And then, the last straw, he stole Balaram's Varuni beverage and started drinking it. Then Lord Balaramji began to consider that he must be punished. Not only is he offending my devotees, but he has caused so many atrocities to all the villages and towns and cities all around. But deep down internally, he also knew that this is the same Viduda who offended me when I was Lakshman, and I have to purify him from his mistaken mentality. So Balaram picked up a stone and he threw it at Viduda. But Viduda was a great warrior. He dodged the stone, and then he understood that he wants to punish me, but I will destroy him. So he picked up big tree, and he trimmed all the branches off the tree, and he went to strike Balaram on the head. And Baladev took his club and effortlessly made the tree into millions of tiny pieces. And then he picked up another tree, and he went to attack Balaram with it. And again, Lord Balaramji, he took his club and made the tree into nothing. And this happened again and again and again until the entire forest in all directions, as far as the eyes could see, there was not a single tree. Such determination. Then he started going to the mountains and getting large boulders, slabs of stone, and he started hurling them at Balaramji. And Balaram would take his club and smash them all to pieces, until there was not a single stone left on any of the mountains. And when there was no other weapons for Dravida to fight with, he personally ran toward Balaram, and with his mighty, powerful fists, the same ones that could cause tidal waves in the ocean just by mixing the waters, he began with all of his strength and force to pound upon the chest of Sri Baladev. But Balaramji, he is the source of all spiritual strength. He is the foundation of faith for all devotees. He was not shaken by any of the blows of Dravida. We should know that if we are strongly connected with faith and devotion to Lord Balaram, through the Guru Tatva, through our spiritual master, then all of the powers of Maya and all demoniac influences can pound upon us, but we will remain unshaken. After all, in his mere expansion as Ananta Shesha, he is holding all the universes like little jewels on his hood. Balaram is the foundation and stability of all devotees, in fact, of the entire material existence. So what could Vivida's massive beatings upon him do? He was unshaken and unmoved. But Balaramji was thinking, in my role as a Kshatriya, if someone attacks me with no weapon, I cannot use weapon. He's attacking me with his fists. So Balaramji took his beautiful fist, which is softer than a lotus for those devotees who approach him, but harder than a thunderbolt for those who rebel against him. And he beat Dravida with his fist upon his collarbone. And Viduda, his eyes began to roll in his head, and he fell to the ground, vomiting blood, passing stool and urine simultaneously, and his soul departed from his body. Shri Balaramji ki! In this way, Balaram's kindness was he rectified this demon the only way the demon could be rectified. He was liberated from all of his envy by the crushing blows of Balaram. Haribo! Similarly, we should know that when his representative, the spiritual master, chastises us, those hard blows are meant to liberate us from the entanglement of our material illusions and our ego.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on thesacredconnect.com.